What is going on, everybody? Hope everybody had a wonderful time because I missed you all the past 2 weeks. We are back and we are grooving with a new weekly watch list. This is a segment that I've been doing every single Monday for everybody out there that is interested in making some money off small cap, large cap options, and OTC stocks in this hot market. Let's go over what the Mavericks are looking for this week on the weekly watch list. If you're interested, click that subscribe button below. I do this every single Monday, and you can check me out live trading twice a day in the Simpler Trading website under the Stock Mavericks. And when you sign up, you'll get access to this weekly watch list every single Monday morning. Now, this watch list is a group of sectors, listed stocks, options, and OTCs. That's how it will go down the list. That's how I'll read it today. This week's a special week for me. It's my birthday week. And what's great about my life is I share a birthday with my twin brother. So happy birthday, Nick. Shout out to you, man. Much love. Always look up to what you've done in life. If you're even listening to this, who knows if he is or not. He'll let me know probably, give me a little shout out. But he is the filmer and photographer of the Florida Panthers. He's got two rings, so I like to call him Two Ring Nick now. But thank you for being who you are always, staying true to yourself. And that's what life's about. So excited to celebrate that on Tuesday. And hopefully this week can bring us some bags. Because on Friday, we ended the week with some bags. So let's keep the momentum flowing. This week we got metal sector as the one hot sector to watch. So I always start my week with sector watch list. What sectors, what's out there hot. The reason why I'm watching the metal sector, well, actually, before I even dive into the metal sector, how crazy was the markets last Friday? We got some volatility. We've had volatility forever. But on Friday, Trump said that he was going to import a 100% tariff on China. And when he said that, the market collapsed. The QQQ fell almost, or it did fall 3%. The SPY was down 2.5% plus by the end of the day. And after hours, we got even more of a collapse. But over the weekend, and why I always tell people not to short in a boiling hot market, we got some more news from Trump. And Trump actually lifted the market by saying he doesn't want any problem with China. And it seems like he's trying to ease things over. So we'll see. We'll see if that's just fluff or not. But it caused the whole market to bounce after the ugly day we had on Friday. So nice bounces all across the board. The metal sector was the top sector I was watching. And why was I watching that sector? Is because TMQ last week got a deal with the government and they spiked from $2 to $8. And that caused a lot of other stocks to spike. CRML was another one spiking from 6 to 19. You have NAC that spiked from 80 cents to $2. So a lot of big runners out there. Eric from 275 to 480. All of this is beautiful to see. And now we're going to try to take advantage of some more this week. So I start off by looking at the sector leader, which is MP. And MP is gapping up even more to 52-week highs. So let's see if that keeps running to start the day. But we should get a hot start to this week because we are in one metal stock right now. And it's the one OTC that we liked over the weekend. And that's TMRC. We actually bought it really late in the day at 150. It was like 158, 160. And now we're seeing a nice, huge gap up opportunity. So if we can get the gap up to start the day, we're already going to make 15% plus just to start the week. And the other OTC that we were watching on that overnight watch list, and for those of you guys that are wondering, this Simpler Trading Mavericks room comes with this weekly watch list, but also an overnight watch list that I create every Friday. And look at what number 1 and 2 on Friday is. REAP and TMRC, and both of them are gapping up really nicely. So good start there for both those metal stocks, and that's why I continue to watch metal stocks. Other ones that I'm watching as well, these ones more leaning on the short side, just because if you are overextended too much, I eventually want to say you're going to come down, and I like to make money by shorting those kind of stocks. So this is one of those examples. It is running from 6 to 14.50 now. Usually a lot of stocks need a big spike before they come down hard. And this looks like it's going to start with a big spike. So we'll see what happens there. And then WWR is that other one I think that needs to come down a little bit. Just spiking from 90 to 220. I'm not telling them to come back to 90, but a little bit of pullback don't hurt nobody. So we'll see if those stocks get that opportunity there. We also have listed stocks that we're going to get into now. So that was just the one sector I'm watching. Some weeks there's multiple sectors. This week, just that metal sector. And if there's more, I'll definitely update the crew with it. The listed stocks, we're leaning more short. I went to Europe for about 2.5 weeks, and when I came back, all these stocks just spiked. I don't know how they spiked so much, but it starts with ABAT going from 250 now at 820. Now this is an example of a stock that I said usually needs to blow the top off before coming down. It did that twice in this past history. You can see all the way back in December, it took two huge green days and then it finally blew the top off to 4 before coming all the way back down. The same situation happened here when it was trickling its way up, blew the top off of 380 and came down. Now, on Friday, we tried to short this stock, but it didn't work out and we covered it dead even. Good thing we did because it's squeezing like crazy. But is this the day that the top is blown off and we finally get the push down? That's what we'll be looking for. And honestly, I do think that this is probably a really high likely stock to watch to short right now. So I got my eyes very closely to start the week on this short, and there's a good chance we get in it either tomorrow or today. The other one that I'm looking at would be Hive. And why am I looking at it? Is because Bitcoin stocks are another overextension in my opinion. Here's one of them, 350 to 780 since I've been gone in Europe. I left to Europe the 29th and somehow we ran into these crazy explosions while I was gone. It's usually how it happens when you're away from your desk. You get these crazy movements. But now I'm going to try to get the pullback. This stock we actually made money on Friday. You can see here with the buy and sell alerts. See, at ABAT was break even, but Hive, we actually made some good money, close to 10% there. So that was decent. ABAT was the one that we unfortunately lost 4 cents, but it was only 4 cents. So we had a good short streak on Friday. That's how we were able to profit to start the week. But now it's a little harder because this is technically the first red day and we're gapping up. But if we stay below 7, I still like it. 7 seems to be heavy there. And if we could stick below that, I do like that as a short. Also, Bitcoin in general, because I want to short Bitcoin stocks because Bitcoin actually had one of the worst drops, liquidations in history. Now, this is the futures of Bitcoin, so it's not showing you what happened over the weekend. But over the weekend, it tipped 105, and there was a huge buyer at 105. So at least we know there's a huge buyer that bought up 105. But at the same time, we got a huge liquidation. A lot of stop losses, people probably really losing, over leveraged. That usually happens when people are over leveraged. You get a big drop, and when you get a big drop, it liquidates a lot of those stocks. So be aware of Bitcoin stocks this week. I think on the way down, maybe it was a short squeeze to trick people and go back up. We'll be watching. And then the last ones I got on watch, NVTS. Huge breakout on Friday, but with the market, it just faded its way back down. So can we break back out this week? Xena, another multi-month breakout. This is the drone stock. Drone stocks have been hot with the war going on. I know I don't like to talk about that, but D-Pro is another drone stock that it just ran from 6 to 14. We have Hover that created a big first red day on Friday, but spiking from 160 to 350. So drone stocks are on the watch, and that's why I put Xena on the watch. Other ones have broken out. Why can't this one break out? Seems like 7's heavy resistance there. So we'll be watching that. And then the next one I have is LAES. LAES was a breakout that we tried to play last week. It worked out overnight, but then it came right back down after the overnight play, as you can see from Thursday to Friday is the day I'm talking about. We looked to play the breakout here, but it only gapped up to there and then came down. Now it's continuing to hold, so it seems to be moving with the markets. If markets continue to trend, I think this could break out. And if it does start to get some good volume, which it did to end the week last week. You can see here it's the best volume it's had all year since the big spike. Can we turn back around? That's what we'll be looking for. And then last but certainly not least on the listed stock, this is a morning momentum play. Usually for morning momentum plays, I'm looking for huge spikes. After the huge spike happens in 1 or 2 days, you need a consolidation for a day or two, which this one did, and then you look for that third green day push. It seems like this one's just doing it with the market right now. So I'm not completely sold on that, just because the whole market, like everything is making that same exact move. So keep an eye on that. And then options, I don't have too many options this week because the markets are so topsy-turvy, I don't really understand. And I've also been away from the screens for 3 weeks, so getting kind of acclimated back in. But $50, 49 seems like a pretty high top for RGTI. So you can look at put options there, or they just opened up a reverse ETF. So if you want to just buy shares, this goes in the opposite direction of RGTI. So RGTI is gapping up, this is gapping down. And then the other one would be SOUN. And I think SOUN is a nice trender. It's been trending in the right direction. RGTI was kind of a stock that used to run with it, and now RGTI has blown the top off. I think if we could blow the top off of 20, we might be able to get back to 25 plus. So keep an eye on SOUN. I do like that one. And then last but certainly not least, I always talk OTC stocks, because OTC stocks I've started my trading career with in 2015. So I always go back to it. REAP was the one I was showing you guys earlier. So it took a nice dip to 130 after, or not, right before power hour. And that 130 spot has been the support. And then, oh no, sorry. I was talking about REAP first. So I'm talking about the one we're in overnight. Not this one, TMRC and REAP. But REAP is the first one I wanted to talk about. Even though they're up here on the metal sector, these are the ones we're in overnight, so we'll bring them up. Held breakout perfectly, or held support perfectly. The breakout was 130. It broke right back above breakout at the end of the day, and now it's getting a 10% gap up. Same thing with TMRC. Held, getting that 10% gap up. It's exactly what you want to see there. And then Binny, I gotta keep a close eye. We'll see where it's gonna open, but it's his first day on the OTC stocks, and I've been waiting for this day forever. This was my most profitable stock. If you want to check out some more videos on the YouTube, you can actually see I made a video in 2022 and 2023 about this stock. Also, there's tons of like actual lessons and patterns from this stock, but it used to be MULN. Now it's Binny. So that's the same MULN. So keep an eye on that. CGRI is a sub penny. I do look in the dumpster and I go all the way to sub pennies, but look at this huge day it had with huge volume, and the breakout is close to a penny. So when some pennies break a penny, they usually can go. So keep an eye on CGRA, and it's an American stock, and American stocks have seemed to be spiking lately. The next one is HGRAF. I want to see it break back above 2. It looks like a big breakout's loading here. It's held 1 every time it came down to 1. We actually made some good money here on that dip. But let's see if we can now make money on the breakout. I think this is going to be a good one this week. And then the last one is a short, and this is in the metal stock. So there's a lot of metal stocks breaking out. ARRNF being another one that we are watching on the overnight watch list from Friday. And look at that gap up that this one's getting. It took a dip all the way back down to 36, and now it's up to 45. So huge gapper there. That's definitely beautiful to see. But that is the last, or the last one would be a short when that sector does turn, because I do think it's eventually going to turn this week because it's been going up for so much. And if this one breaks back above 75, I'll be watching that. But other than that, that is our list of stocks, guys, for this week. We're going to be looking to tag bags like we ended the week on Friday. Just sized up the account, but also going to start a small account challenge very soon. So be on the lookout for that. Hope to see you guys in the room. We actually have a $7 trial for the month. Click the link below if you'd like to check that out. Alright guys, enjoy the rest of your week. Good luck out there, and hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed it. I'll see you next Monday. Peace.